Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be discussing the second ever suspect test in Scarlet and Violet overused in the first Pokemon to be suspected. That is Chien-Pao. That's right. Mega Weavile Chien-Pao, the wielder of the Sword of Ruin, will be suspected in Scarlet and Violet overused. Of course, this is more likely than not going to be a temporary measure, as with Pokemon Home in the future and all sorts of releases coming in the later parts of the generation. It could only be a ban for a couple months if it gets banned, or it could even not get banned. So do not celebrate yet if you're in the pro ban camp, and certainly do not grieve yet if you are in the Chien-Pao camp, as there is a lot to come. But right now it has been deemed too problematic for the metagame to the point that it's being suspected. Is it ban worthy? The jury is still out on that, of course, but let's discuss Chien-Pao, its merit in the metagame, should it be banned or not, and plenty more in this video. So Chien-Pao, for those of you that don't know, is an Ice Dark type, much like Weavile in past generations, but it is much stronger and even a bit faster, surprisingly. With Sword of Ruin, it makes it so the Pokemon's defense when they're faced them is just a bit weaker, and that makes a big difference, allowing it to break through walls. Couple this with the fact that it can operate nicely with the Choice Band or with Swords Dance, to the point that it's really able to dispatch of virtually everything it faces. There are some select Pokemon that are able to handle it, such as Taurus, Paldea Fire, and Water. They have the fire fighting and water fighting types respectively, which can at least resist the Pokemon Chien-Pao's stab attacks and also neutralize Sacred Sword. Couple that with Intimidate, and at least earlier on in games they should be able to handle it pretty nicely. Other Pokemon like Quaquaval, Azumarill can potentially be worth it once or twice, but they're not very good long-term checks either. All in all, Chien-Pao is probably the strongest Pokemon in metagame right now, and has been since the Chi-Yu ban. Chi-Yu is kind of a stronger, but slower, but perhaps a little more practical version of it on the special side, one could argue. But Chien-Pao is still able to dispatch of many foes. We previously had the test on Terrestrialization, which remained fully legal. Personally, I think that this test is more likely to result in a ban, just because it's really inhibiting our ability to team build creatively. While some people may be unfortunately upset that there's going to be an offensive Pokemon that could potentially be banned, I do think that this is a good thing for offensive teams, actually, as now it's a bit of an addition by subtraction, in the sense that you're forced to run these defensive pivots like the Tauros forms, or you're forced to run things like Terra Fairy Dondozo, or a bunch of Rocky Helmet users, and things like Baneful Bunker Toxapex, for example. You're forced to use these Pokemon for Chien-Pao to be reliable against, to be consistent against, to not get swept by it. And now taking that restriction off can really make it so that offensive teams can flourish. You're not hamstrung by running Quaquaval a bunch or Bloodrum Azumarill a lot. They've got wider array of options. Suddenly other Pokemon can make their way onto more teams, and perhaps it'll make it so that while we're removing one Pokemon, there are going to be 3 or 6 or 10 Pokemon that are made more viable by this ban. That is personally why I will be voting ban. I believe that right now Chien-Pao stunts a lot of progress in terms of metagame growth, and I also feel like it really just boils it down to you got to use one of a very small handful of Pokemon in the metagame, and the opportunity cost of using it relative to countering it, it's just off the charts right now. So I will be voting ban personally once I get my requirements. Of course, I do have to get requirements much like the rest of you guys. You can do that through getting 80 JC in the ladder over the course of 50 games, or any amount more. It could take you 100 games, and that's fine as well. You'd have to do that on a fresh alt that starts with the prefix OUZO. And if you're a high achiever as well, and you get higher than 80 GXE, you can also do it through the less games. So you got a little bit of a scale here, much like prior suspects. You can check that out on Pokemon Showdown, of course. All in all, though, I think Chien-Pao is pretty clear cut. When we surveyed over 1,600 people, the vast majority consensus was that tiering action was needed. Ultimately, it received, I believe, like a 3.4, 3.5 out of 5 on the scale. 3 is kind of something we see as a suspect. 5 is kind of something we see as like a quick ban. And of the people who had gotten wrecked for last suspect, have played a lot in tournaments, or gotten higher results on ladder, they were even over a 4 out of 5, which is actually close to the quick ban territory, but it wasn't quite all the way there, and the general public felt one way, so we didn't really have enough support to quick ban it, but we do feel like a suspect is appropriate at this point in time. We feel like it's going to make it so that these, overly bloated defensive teams are going to be less necessary, and the metagame can kind of be more free-flowing. All in all, Chien-Pao, it definitely restricts the metagame. It warps team building practices a great deal, and I think it'll be much better without it. Obviously, there's some other controversial Pokemon, like Espathra, Goldango, to name a couple. Iron Valiant's quite good as well, and these Pokemon definitely, warrant further discussion. Same with Garganacl as well. It's more of a defensively focused Pokemon, who I even voted ban on before this, but metagame's adapting a bit better to these Pokemon, but Obviously, there's still, something that's in talk, something that will be included, and we do want to get your feedback on those Pokemon, but until the 10th of February, we'll be laddering to get Rex on Chien-Pao. Maybe I'll try and upload a video or two of that, but, and let me know, what do you guys think? Do you think that Chien-Pao should be banned, or do you think it should be unbanned? Personally, again, I'm definitely in band camp. I think that not only is it really awesome, but also with Terra Dark, it's virtually uncounterable. And a lot of Pokemon have to like Terra into the Fairy types or Dark types to check it themselves. And the main issue with that is that if Chien-Pao switches out, then you basically wasted your Terra, or you're using it. It kind of has that centralizing presence, if you will. And obviously, Terra is such a great defensive, integral part of our metagame, although it definitely can lead to some variance, but it's still a great part of our metagame, and I'm certainly glad that it did stay. With Chien-Pao wielding it definitely is a bit much. So yeah, joining Fluttermane, Houndstone, Palafin Iron Bundle, Chi-Yu, and Iolite Cyclizar, there's a chance that if it receives over 60% support, a super majority, then Chien-Pao will go to Ubers. Of course, there's also a chance it will stay in the OU metagame as well, if it does not get that point. So we're going to wait and see. If you definitely are invested in the metagame in Chien-Pao, I would advise you get Rex. If not, you could just sit back and watch, and whatever happens, happens. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you need help getting Rex, team support, whatever it may be, feel free to shoot me a message on Smogon, Discord, or Twitter. I'd be happy to help you guys. And if you need anything else, feel free to let me know. If not, I do really appreciate you guys watching. I actually do want to also discuss one other thing in this video real quickly. The suspect is up, but also we did recently have a survey. I know I alluded to that briefly, but I feel bad I didn't get to do a solo video on that. It's just I've been so busy lately, and real life, kind of takes priority over here. But yeah, we got over 1,600 responses to that, and a lot of people find the metagame enjoyable. Right now, it's averaging a little over 7 out of 10 on the enjoyability scale. So I'm really glad that so many people are having fun. Seeing such a large sample, 1,637 people, or even just 153 qualified people, they're all leaning towards having fun. You look, 516, basically half of the sample voted 8 or 9, and that's just awesome. I believe I personally voted a 7. I think we can, improve, and I always want to hold us to the best standard and adhere to the best practices, but I really do enjoy this metagame. In terms of competitiveness, it definitely took a big drop off, all the way down to 6. We see here that, between 5, 6, 7, 8, there was a bulk of where responses fell, even some in 4 as well. It goes down, you see where it peaks around 6, 7 though. 6, 7, 8 though, but yeah, no, right now, among the qualified people, it definitely saw a substantial drop off to 6.0, and still a pretty steady drop off to 6.3 for general. All in all, I find it to be, a lot of people are enjoying the metagame, but it's true that there's some games decided by nonsense. There's some variance, and I think maybe removing things like Chien-Pao from the metagame might help take a load off, which definitely would be even better for the metagame. And yeah, as I discussed before, Chien-Pao of the general 3.4, which is well enough to suspect it regardless, and the highest of all the Pokemon. But if you look at the qualified people, it's up to 4.1, and that's like egregious, like wave red flag territory, so it's a lot there. Moving on, Garganacl. Qualified had it at 3.0, general at 3.2. Personally, I find Garganacl to be, a little overbearing. People are using different sets and exploring. We do see a lot more Covert Cloak, though, which is great, but it's true that it's very bulky. Terra is awesome on it, and it's able to touch status, which is just a great set of attributes to it, and it'll definitely be something to keep an eye on. Goldengo was a little lower at 2.5. And Spathra was in between 2.9, 2.6, Definitely something that's still something that we got to keep an eye on, but alongside maybe Iron Valiant, threatening Pokemon for sure, but I think that can be dealt with. So it'll be curious to see if we can deal with it efficiently, or if it's too limiting. We'll keep an eye on all this. All in all, I do hope you guys are enjoying the metagame like these 1,637 people generally indicate to be. Obviously, as someone who's in charge of something of this size and this scope, tens of thousands of games played every day, millions of games played this generation already. I just want people to be happy, have fun, and having a competitive experience where the better players is winning more than not. And all in all, I think that we're getting into the right direction here. Obviously, it's been a hectic whirlwind of events thus far. I've put in tons of man hours, as have some of my fellow councilmen, moderators, etc. But all in all, I think we're putting out a product that the community tends to be enjoying, and that's what matters most at the end of the day. It's a little unfortunate seeing such fun Pokemon like Chien-Pao, potentially getting the boot, but all in all, if it's inhibiting our ability to play the game and have consistently enjoyable metagame, then that's something that the people made pretty clear here, and we have to vote on it. So the community will ultimately decide, and from there we'll proceed in accordance with what we see best fit. So yeah, let me know, what do you think, guys? Do you think that the metagame is enjoyable or not so much? Do you think it's competitive or not so much? And what would you personally vote on Chien-Pao? Feel free to let me know that down below in the comments. And again, if you need help getting suspect recs or just any general questions, best place to reach me would be Twitter. You could either tweet at me or DM me. On Smogon, you could VM or DM me, and on Discord, you could always shoot me a message, friend request, whatever it is as well. Happy to help you guys, happy to talk with you guys. No matter what, we're all in this metagame together, and while I'm the leader, I do want every single player to enjoy it. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll leave you there. All right, bye guys.